Years ago, a friend handed me a few strange knobby roots. No name, no explanation, just plant them somewhere. I stuck them in a forgotten corner of the garden. Poor soil, no compost, no fertilizer, no water except rain. And then I genuinely forgot they existed. When I happened to check that corner in autumn, I found plants nearly 2 meters tall. I dug them up and found roots the size of sweet potatoes underneath. I bit into one, sweet like apple with honey, juicy, crunchy. What I tasted that day changed the way I see my garden forever. This plant is called yacón, and it is the most productive, most low-maintenance thing I have ever grown. Why almost no one knows it? That is what we are here for. In the next few minutes, I will show you everything you need to know about yacón, what it is, why its flavor will catch you off guard, how to grow it, and why, despite everything it offers, it is missing from almost every garden. This is not hype. This is a plant grown in the Andes for centuries. You plant it once, it takes care of itself, barely attracts pests, needs almost no water, and at the end of the season, delivers kilos of edible roots. If you understand how yacón works, you will never look at your garden the same way again. Yacón, scientifically Smolanthus sancifolius, belongs to the Asteraceae family, the same family as the sunflower and the artichoke. It originates from the Andes from elevations of roughly 600 to 3,500 meters. Mild climate, cool nights, sunny days. That is exactly why it adapts so well in many European and temperate gardens. In Peru and Bolivia, it has been eaten for centuries. Outside the Andean region, almost nobody knows it. That makes no sense because it offers exactly what most home gardeners are looking for: a lot of food with very little effort. What you eat are the storage roots, the large, downward-hanging tubers that look like sweet potatoes. Critical to understand, the plant produces two completely different root types. First, the storage roots, the food. Second, the rhizomes, the small knobby pieces at the stem base. Those are the planting material for next season. The rhizomes taste bitter and fibrous. Only the storage roots are for eating. I made that mistake myself. First harvest, I pulled everything out, tried a rhizome, and thought my friend had given me a useless plant. A Peruvian farmer in a video set me straight. The good roots are the thick ones, hanging downward. Let us start with the flavor. Yacón is sweet, but not like sugar. More like a cross between apple, pear, and the faintest hint of melon. And it is crunchy, very crunchy. I eat it raw, peeled, cut into sticks like carrot sticks, but sweet. My kids eat it like candy. That sweetness has an unusual origin. It does not come from ordinary sugar, but from compounds called fructooligosaccharides, FOS. These fructose chains are not digested the way normal sugar is. They travel intact to the large intestine where they feed beneficial bacteria. Yacón acts as a natural prebiotic. That is why yacón has attracted serious scientific attention, particularly in Peru and Japan. Research into its effects on gut microbiota and glucose metabolism. It is not a miracle cure, but it is a food with a genuinely unusual nutritional profile, especially for anyone seeking something sweet with less impact on blood sugar. The calorie count is surprisingly low, around 50 calories per 100 grams, while sweet potato contains more than double that. And yet yacón still tastes sweet. It almost feels like cheating. It tastes good, fills you up, refreshes you, and stays light. Ow, the growing. Which is where this plant truly surprised me. Anyone who has grown potatoes knows the effort: fungi, pests, moisture management. Yacón, by comparison, is almost insultingly easy. What you need are the rhizomes, compact, knobby, with visible buds. Those buds produce the shoots. Plant in spring once frost risk is gone. Dig a hole about 20 centimeters deep, place the rhizome in, cover with soil. Done. With reasonably good soil, no extra fertilizer is needed. If the soil is poor, a little mature compost helps, but not too much. Excess nitrogen drives leaf growth at the expense of roots. Leave at least 1 meter between plants. I prefer 1.5 meters because yacón grows large. It can reach between 1.8 and 2.5 meters tall depending on the variety. It has big, attractive green leaves and honestly looks like an ornamental plant. If you want a natural screen in the garden, yacón works for that too, with the bonus that you can eat it. In summer, it needs very little water. Once a week is usually enough. In spring and autumn, rain often does the rest. As for pests, in all the years I have grown yacón, I have never treated it with anything, not once. When the leaves turn yellow and die back in autumn, that is the signal. The plant is sending energy to the roots. Wait until the above-ground part has completely withered, then cut the stems at ground level. Use a digging fork to loosen the soil until the plant comes out whole. Rhizomes at the base go back for next season. Storage roots go to the kitchen. Many growers recommend leaving the roots in an airy spot for a day or two after harvest. The flavor becomes even sweeter during that time. I leave mine in a wooden crate for a couple of days, then move them to a cool, dark place. Do not wash them before storing. My first year I washed everything, stored it clean, and lost a good portion to rot. Now I store them with a little soil still attached and wash only right before eating. Almost no losses since. Raw is best, peeled, cut into sticks, with a few drops of lemon to prevent browning. Perfect as a snack or in a salad with beetroot, walnuts, and goat cheese. It can also be cooked, roasted, stir-fried. Keep in mind that deep frying significantly reduces the FOS content and with it, the prebiotic effect. Gentle cooking like roasting or steaming has far less impact, but raw is the way to go if the nutritional profile matters to you. One warning for first-timers, start with around 50 grams. The high FOS content can cause bloating if your gut is not used to it. I got carried away the first time. I learned that lesson the same evening. If yacón is this productive, this easy, this good, why does almost nobody grow it? Lack of awareness is the first reason. If people do not know something exists, they do not ask for it. No demand means no large-scale production. No production means no visibility. It is a loop. The roots bruise easily during transport and do not keep as long as potatoes. For a large retail chain, both are liabilities. For a family garden, neither matters. You harvest, store at home, and eat through it gradually. And here is the honest truth. What cannot be scaled, shipped in bulk, and sold in every supermarket does not get promoted. That is just economics, and it means the full value of yacón belongs entirely to the people who grow it themselves. One plant produces between 10 and 20 rhizomes. In year 1, you plant one. In year 2, you have many. Within a few seasons, you have more than your family can consume. The surplus, you give away. That is exactly how plants that deserve to be known actually spread. If you have a free corner and do not know what to plant yacón, 4 or 5 rhizomes. Let them grow. Wait until autumn. When you harvest, always keep more rhizomes than you think you need. The first year, I kept too few, and several did not survive storage. Since then, I always hold back more than necessary. The extras I give away, because that is how this plant reaches more garden. Yacón deserves to be better known. A plant this easy to grow, this productive, this genuinely good to eat, sitting in almost no gardens. That makes no sense.